You're in pain because you keep comparing yourself to everybody else because your altcoin hasn't gone up, but you see Bitcoin at new all-time highs. You're not the first person to ever have this realization or this thought. You're probably new to crypto, you probably lack conviction, and you can't see what I see, especially when it comes to my favorite coins. I'm talking about PulseChain. We've got Bitcoin at $120,000, Ethereum at $3,000. Tiny fraction of global liquidity needs to flow into our tiny little illiquid asset to send prices to the moon. But for some people, the math, the potential, the idealized vision of it all is not enough. They just can't help but have a victim mentality and compare themselves to every single investment that they missed out on. And if it wasn't crypto, people with this victim mentality would probably have it in any aspect of life, saying that they're not where they want to be because of someone else, because of something else, because it relieves them of personal responsibility of standing behind their convictions. Now, I'm convinced that PulseChain is only a matter of time. Like I said, when rather than if, and I can wait for years, longer than everybody else can probably wait. That's how much I believe in these things. But a lot of people got into crypto thinking it would be a days and weeks game when they didn't realize it was a months and years waiting game. Months and years. People don't get rich in a couple of weeks. Unless you're part of a very successful meme coin cabal. Crypto is a very tough game. That's why everybody's not rich in crypto, because nobody can delay gratification. It's the marshmallow test. The Stanford prison experiments. If you give kids the option to have one marshmallow now or two marshmallows in a few minutes, most of the kids, they pick the one marshmallow now, and that's actually a leading indicator of success later on in life. All the kids that delayed gratification in the marshmallow test ended up having better jobs, higher salaries, more success in every aspect of life. So I don't personally mind waiting until people go risk on, because it's all a spectrum. You see, people start off with Bitcoin, and then they go riskier and riskier and riskier, and ETH is in the middle. And altcoins, such as PulseChain, Hex, and PulseX, those are at the other end of the risk curve. And you got to realize I'm talking about how other people perceive it. I don't perceive these things to be risky because, to me, all that needs to happen is $100 million of net inflows, which is like one day of Ethereum ETF net inflows needs to happen at some point in the future. 2025, 2026, 2029. It doesn't matter when. I will be here for that moment. And those outsized returns will make up for the endless 10x's over here, 5x over there, 3x over there. You can play should've, would've, could've all day long. It's not gonna change what's in your control. What's in your control is to buy something, stick with it, and take whatever action you can. Otherwise, at least join a team where you see people taking action. And until PulseChain, which by the way is number 3 on the strategic Ethereum reserve list, PulseChain, which has a reserve asset holdings of 166,000 ETH, $500 million today, until this ecosystem pumps, I don't mind shaking out weak hands. Like we've seen a guy who just sold $1.5 million of Hex, and the market ate it right up. Hex is still half a penny, just like it was right before this guy started dumping. So the market is absorbing these capitulations from people that just don't care anymore or can't take it. And this is less dead weight on the way up. And if you're the type of person that's always focusing on somebody with more money than them, that's selling, that has potential sell pressure, you're gonna find what you're looking for in every single coin. Imagine all the sell pressure in Bitcoin or in Ethereum. Imagine all the sell pressure in your favorite narrative coin on some other chain because the cabal printed half of the supply for themselves and have like linear vesting unlock period and they perma dump forever. If you're the type of person that complains about the world happening to them as if they're helpless, it's a victim mentality, you're gonna have that same mentality no matter where you go, and crypto is probably not for you. And the more expectations you have, the more wildly optimistic things that you wish would happen in a certain time frame, the more you're just gonna be endlessly disappointed in crypto. Now, do we need Ethereum to pump in order for PulseChain to pump? Not really. We could just onboard a bunch of people, and I think they're going to pump alongside each other. But keep in mind, Ethereum hasn't even broken its all-time high yet. Bitcoin is the thing that's broken its all-time high, and Bitcoin's got institutional money flowing in from the entire global liquidity. But I cannot stress this enough. I believe we are just getting started. I believe this is an extended cycle. Look at the dollar index, okay? They flipped the dollar index in reverse. Because usually when dollar goes down, assets go up. So they flipped it in reverse on this chart here so that you can see how closely the inverse dollar index tracks the price of Bitcoin. And it's actually a leading indicator. So when they shifted the inverse dollar index up by 3 months, it tracks Bitcoin very closely. And because the dollar is down 3 months in advance, that leads me to believe that we have a lot more bullish upside, not only for Bitcoin, but for PulseChain, for Ethereum, for whatever altcoin you're probably holding, as long as it isn't a piece of absolute trash. The government's printing money. The government is minting T-bills. Okay, they're selling T-bills to the public, $1 trillion. They're about to flood the markets with money, which is what they always do. They just raised the debt ceiling, $5 trillion. And over $1 trillion of government debt is expected to be issued so that the treasury can fill their reserves with cash. And for some reason, the human population is still buying the narrative that government debt isn't just being printed into oblivion. So it's kind of absurd that people are still looking at T-bills as a safe haven, steady, predictable asset. I mean, they know that the government has no other option here. The Federal Reserve, this is the main option they have, is print T-bills, lower the rates, raise the rates. That's like the only two levers they have. Reserve requirements, nobody does it anymore. The reserve requirements are like 0%. The emperor has no clothes here, okay? $1 trillion is like not even a big deal, and this news just came out today. Oh look, they're gonna flood the market with cash again. They're gonna make everyone buy government debt so they get steady, predictable yields, inflate the purchasing power of the middle class, and all that extra cash does flow into equities, and it does flow into assets, and more illiquid assets pump harder. Bitcoin might be extremely liquid compared to Ethereum and PulseChain, but compared to the stock market as a whole, it's maybe 1/100th. The entire market cap of Bitcoin is almost as big as the market cap of Amazon. I think it just flipped Amazon today, actually. So when you look at crypto like that, you need to zoom out and realize how much potential is on the table here. This is a big week for crypto. There's a couple of big bills being talked about. The Tornado Cash trial, the guys that made privacy software. I hope that goes well, because that's a terrible thing. Some people almost got thrown in prison forever. It's like someone that invented the hammer is being sued because a crazy guy decided to kill a guy with a hammer. That's what's happening with Tornado Cash. These guys invented privacy software, and now we're getting unfairly persecuted for it. Prosecuted, actually, because some people use the privacy software that they invented that's open source to do money laundering. So government incompetence is blame the tool, not the actual bad guy. I hope that goes well, but the real point of this so-called crypto week for this week starting Monday today is the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which sounds nice, but we kind of have CBDCs. The stablecoins that already exist have an off switch and a freeze function. So it sounds nice on paper. I guess it gets the people feeling comfortable with the idea of crypto. Oh, it's going to be safe, sure, until they shut you off for your political views one day. The Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, the Clarity Act is going to be who determines the regulations here. Is it the SEC? Is it the CFTC? Okay, great. We're going to decide who decides what. We're going to just actually assign responsibilities, crazy concept. And then finally, the Genius Act. This basically says which cabals of banking elites get to make a stablecoin. It says nothing about DeFi stablecoins. So obviously I've got criticisms with all this stuff happening, but the market interprets this as a good thing, because the market, the vast majority of people, have a subservient mindset. They have an appeal to authority. They think this matters. So whether or not you and me realize that this doesn't really matter, you should be using DeFi, real DeFi like PulseChain and Ethereum. The normies, the plebs, they say, oh, daddy, government's here to save us. Now we know the rules. Well, good. I mean, this does have to happen. And this is just one stepping stone in changing public sentiment so that the public can feel like, because daddy government says it's okay, that we can start moving forward on crypto. And you see what I mean? We're just getting started. Once the groundwork of regulations is laid, Ethereum inflows are going to keep picking up. Ethereum's going to go up. Altcoins are going to go up. It's all going to happen. It might take till 2026. And if it's not happening as fast as you would like, the answer to that problem is not comparing yourself to everything else that went up 2 or 3 or 4x that you missed out on. If you want to do that all day long, have a good time. All I really know is what the actual math says, is that if we can onboard the next $100 million into PulseChain, hundreds of access of life-changing wealth are on the table. Look at these numbers on the screen. They're real numbers based on what? $93 million coming into the ecosystem. The money's already out there. If we go out and divert some of that money into the ecosystem, things will pump. And for people scared that, oh, the founder of PulseChain's never coming back. Oh, the founder of PulseChain isn't here to save us. First of all, you need to take some personal responsibility. Nobody's coming to save you. Second of all, I can tell you with absolute certainty that that is the polar opposite of the truth. But that's all I'm going to say on that. I am thankful to be in an ecosystem, a crypto ecosystem, where I know people are working hard for their bags. The community, the founder, the tech, everything is good. So enjoy Ethereum at $3,000 and enjoy one more day closer to that global liquidity cycle ramping up and to capturing even a tiny drop of the giant bucket of endless dollars that are being printed, and one tiny step closer to pumping all of our bags. I will see you on the next video. Like, subscribe, comment for the algo, share for the algo. Sharing is important. I'm glad to be on Team PulseChain, Hex and PulseX. Imagine the feeling when all these coins are 10x higher, and then imagine how much easier after the first 10x. Imagine how much easier the next 10x will be, and then the next one. So keep staying positive, keep building, and don't trap yourself getting depressed with these victimizing ways of thinking. See you on the next one.